morning, everyone. So one of the things that I am trying to be better at in the new year is showing you more of my processes and behind the scenes stuff that I do to get my products ready for markets and just for sale in general. A lot of times in my videos, I will say, oh, you'll see some behind the scenes shots, and then there's hardly anything because I forget to film. So we're trying to be better about that in the new year. What I'm working on this morning is sewing fabric bookmarks. So I have a bunch of fabric cut. I cut 2 pieces for each bookmark. They are about 2 by 6, but these are cut a little bit bigger than that for seam allowance. And then one of the pieces has this fusible fleece on it. And I make the fusible fleece a little bit smaller than the outline of the bookmark, just to keep my seams from getting too bulky. I'm still getting to know my sewing machine and getting more comfortable with her, but I've learned quickly that bulky seams are not her forte. So whatever I can do to avoid that is what I'm gonna do. So I will show you here. I've got a bunch of fabric cut, ironed, ready to go. And yeah, let's go ahead and get started. All right, I don't know if this is the best angle, but I set up a second table in my office / craft room just for sewing because I just didn't have enough room on my other table that's in here. So this table is temporary. This is my 4-foot table that I take with me to markets. So it can't stay in here all the time, but my hope is when I'm not doing markets that this will be in here to just give me some extra surface space. Any crafter knows the more space you have, the better. So I have actually not sewn in months. Well, probably a month. No, it's been probably a month and a half. So we'll see how rusty I am. I'm gonna start with this cute mushroom fabric that I showed you before. I have some old fabrics that I've done before, and then I have some new ones I'm really excited about, like this blue fabric. It's got like cute little strawberries on it. And then I have like a really cute pink floral. There's a bee one that's really fun. This one's all folded, but here's bees. I love anything with bees. So I'm really excited to get started, and I just realized that I don't have any of my pins over here, so let me get those. Sorry, I have a very squeaky chair. She needs a little WD-40, but that is neither here nor there. We will just deal with it. So here's the clips that I use. This is a corner bookmark I made a while ago, and I realized I don't think a corner bookmark needs like all this padding. It's way too thick. So I'll be playing with those again eventually, but for now we are looking for these clips, and I think 6 is probably good enough. I guess we'll find out. So especially with this fabric, I need to make sure that the pattern is going the same way when I clip them, and then we'll clip them good sides together. Try to get these lined up as best as possible here. Let's see, that looks pretty good, I think. And I usually like to clip 2 on each side. I guess the shorter sides you probably don't need 2. Oh, I got that one kind of off here. I'm not the greatest at lining stuff up. I'm still honing that skill. Really helps if I don't like actually pick it up like I just did when I'm trying to line everything up. And of course my pieces aren't going to be perfect, like perfectly the same size, so I have to remember that as well. We'll clip those, we'll clip the ends. I think I'm actually just going to use 1 on that end, maybe 2 on this end. Oh no, we'll just do 1 on each end of the shorter ends. And then this side is the side but I keep a little bit of a gap for turning it inside out. So I like to mark where I want that gap to be with these clips. So I'll stop sewing here and then start again there, so that we have a nice open space to fold those back over. So here we go. Let's see how rusty we are in the new year. The nice thing about having the fleece be shorter or not as wide as the fabric also is that I can just sew right along that line. And as long as I cut these fleece pieces pretty accurately, it should be a pretty straight line. So let's see how we're doing here. And I'm already starting the new year with losing my thread. That is something that I have struggled with this machine. Luckily I have like this thread assist little thing here, which makes it easy to reload the thread, but all right, let's try it again. Let's see if we can keep that thread in the needle. So far so good. Our needle down, we're gonna turn it, and it looks pretty good. Maybe I'm not as rusty as I thought I'd be. I should knock on wood though, because the second I say that, I'll screw something up. Looking beautiful so far. And what I just realized though is I forgot to backstitch the beginning. So we'll have to do that when we round it around. Pretty good so far. Now we gotta start back up here. Starting right here. Whoa. Getting a little wild. And of course I forgot to backstitch again. See? I am a little rusty. I keep forgetting to backstitch. Alrighty, last clip is out. So, forgot to backstitch multiple times, but I think she turned out good. I need my little snipper. See, I just forgot all my little tools that I need. Let's see. 1, All right, these are not like sewing scissors, but they're Cricut, these little snippers, and they are very sharp. So I use them to cut all my little strings here and any loose fabric that I have. I'm just not a huge fan of all these strings. I know they'll be inside, but still, I thought I saw a blue one. Here we go. These ones I don't cut too small just because they're on the opening. All right, that should be good enough. And we are going to take that side that we left open right here and gently, as gently as you can, fold this inside out. I think I left too big of an opening. This feels a little too easy. But again, let me go get another tool. Gosh, I'm just not prepared here. I need to get something nice and pokey for the corners. Got a couple options. This is like a nail, like cuticle pusher thing, and this might be too sharp. We'll see. But otherwise, I have more of a blunt end on this paintbrush. But that is to help poke out corners. And we'll see. I will use the like tapered end first. The last thing you want to do when you've just sewn something is to break through, yeah, this is too sharp, to break through the corners. That would be a bummer. I think this paintbrush is probably good enough. My corners are not super sharp, but I'm okay with that. I round the corners of my paper bookmarks, so I figure rounded corners of fabric bookmarks isn't a big deal. All right, I think that looks pretty good and even. This corner out just a little bit more. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. So now what I need to do is I'm gonna have to get my iron back out, but I like to kind of batch my work. So like I don't want to like sew and then iron, sew, iron. What I'll do is I'll sew like a handful of these. I'll probably sew like everything I have from one fabric and then whip out the iron and kind of batch it like that. But basically we gotta iron this nice and flat and get this area here where it's open. We want to fold in the edges of that fabric when I'm ironing so they line up nicely, and then we can sew a top stitch around the perimeter. We do have some loose strings here that I can clip to. But I like to just fold it in as much as I can, because when you're ironing it flattens out even more. So I try to really like, it's kind of hard. Try to really like roll it in. Let's see, I think that looks pretty good. I can really get like one side rolled in and then clip it. That looks pretty good. Try to remind myself too that like this is handmade. It's not going to be perfect. Nobody's expecting it to be, and if they are, they shouldn't be buying something handmade or anything at all really, because even stuff that isn't handmade isn't perfect. I've gotten plenty of mass-produced commercial items that have imperfections. So I'm trying to remind myself of that because I can definitely get caught up in trying to make this perfect. But those who are purchasing from me know that it's handmade and appreciate what that means. So just reminding myself out loud. I think that looks good though. We'll trim up some strings once I have that ironed. So here's our first one done. And we can do another one. I want to actually do one. I want to do one of the bee ones. I just love this fabric so much. I think it's so cute. So again, even though this one has bees going different directions, I think this is kind of like the right side up, I guess. So again, I will take my own advice and lay this down instead of trying to line it up in the air. I'm gonna need a new clip because I just used one on that bookmark. You know what though? I just realized that I did this wrong. See, we are rusty and that's okay. We're dusting off the cobwebs. I need, you know what? I'm actually not gonna do it with this one just because I think I'm gonna make it harder on myself to undo that again. But I forgot to take the bulk out of the corners. So I'll show you that on this bee one, but essentially once I have it sewn, I will then snip off like the corner fabric pieces just to take some of the bulk out of the corners, and it makes the corners more crisp and just easier to poke out. So I will do that on this one. This, I think it should be fine. It'll just have a little bit bulkier corners, but I'll try to really focus my iron on those corners and see if I can't get them to be nice and flat. All right, dusting all the cobwebs off. We're getting it. We're getting back in the groove. This is a great reminder to me as well why it's so important for me to always be doing something like creative, even if I don't have a market for a month or 2 months, to still be sewing and designing and drawing and doing the stuff that I have built processes for, because when you don't do them for 2 months, the processes leave your head. So yeah, this is a good reminder for me as well.
I know a place where we can go and be alone. So come away with me, nobody has to know. Where we gonna go?
All right, so we've got the perimeter sewn for this. I'm gonna cut some of these strings. This one has like a lot of loose threads, which again, I know is gonna be in the inside, but makes me happy to cut them off. Make things a little neater here. All right. So, what I should have done in the last one is taken some of the weight out of these corners. So what I'm gonna do is just cut diagonally across the corner, not too close to the seam. Just take some of that bulk out. All right, now you can see those corners look like that. So we will turn it inside out now. Oh, this this inside out area, open area, it's a little small. That's okay. We'll get it. It'll just take a little more care and finagling. There we go. We got it. See if we can get these corners looking good. Oh yeah, those corners popped out much nicer than the mushroom fabric. It definitely pays off to give those a little trim before flipping. All right, now we gotta roll all this to the inside so we can get a nice flat seam when we iron. Sometimes it's tricky and the fabric doesn't really want to cooperate with the rolling efforts. This one is really being a stinker. It's this side that's kind of poking out still. I'm not sure what's going on. There we go. Had to get a good grip on it. Let's see if that looks okay. And rolled it in too much now. It's a very delicate balance. I think that's okay. I'll definitely know more once I have it ironed, but here's that one. Oh, she is so cute. I'm gonna have to keep one of these for myself or make one for myself. I just love this fabric so much. All right, let's keep working.
I know a place where we can go and be alone. So come away with me, nobody has to know where we gonna go. I was just calling to see if you're free to run away with me.
All right, so as you can probably tell, it's actually the next day. The last clip that you saw, I believe, was me running out of bobbin thread and not realizing it until I was done sewing the bookmark. So I knew my bobbin was getting low. I didn't realize it was as low as it was, and I ran out. So unfortunately, I had to rewind my bobbin and then re-sew that entire bookmark because I thought I did. But that's okay. I've actually heard that they sell pre-wound bobbins, and I think I'm going to purchase some of those. I believe you can get them like on Amazon or probably any sewing shop, but the whole process of rewinding my bobbin, I'm not a fan of, which it's easy, it's simple, whatever, but I would rather just pop in an empty one and pop in a new one that's already wound. Like, that sounds wonderful. So I'll probably be buying some of those, but my bobbin is now rewound, and I tried to top stitch this bookmark, and when I was done, I realized I had some skip stitches. My top thread looked really weird, and I wasn't sure why. So then I realized I put my bobbin in backwards. I thought the bobbin didn't feel like there was a lot of tension on it. So I took the bobbin out, re-put it in the correct way, and then I had to seam rip the entire bookmark top stitch because I didn't want it to go to waste, but it didn't look good. I wouldn't have been able to sell it. So this is the bookmark that I seam ripped. We are now going to try to top stitch it again, and hopefully this one is more successful and I can show you what it looks like. So let's do that real quick. All right, fingers crossed that this works a bit better. I think this looks pretty darn good. I will trim up the threads and then show you. I was afraid that maybe I was not correct about the bobbin and there was another issue, but I think I was, because now it looks like it was supposed to. I think that looks really good. So you can see some of that top stitching. I'm trying to get it to focus. It's not really focusing. There we go. So you can see that top stitching looks good on both sides. That is what I was hoping for. So, all right, we are good to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and top stitch the rest of the bookmarks that I sewed yesterday. These are all ironed and ready to be top stitched. And then I've got this whole pile, 2 piles over here actually left to go for sewing, but I've got a couple weeks before my next market, so I'll do a couple each day and we'll have plenty of time to get them done. But thanks so much for joining me for just something different, a little bit of a sew with me, and I don't know, maybe I inspired you to make some of your own fabric bookmarks. But thank you so much for watching. As always, please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.